We've now got our text input visible. Remember, just about every time we show a text input, you're going to add in your own custom styling. There are two other props that you need to be aware of that you're going to add into almost every text input you put together. So I want to show you something really quickly on the Android and iOS simulators that I'm running. All right, I'm going to reset the screen here really quickly. And I'll go back to my text demo. And then on both these, I'm going to add in just a little bit of text to this text input. So on Android, I'm going to write out ASDF. And same thing over here on iOS as well. Now, it's kind of hard to see, and I know the text on the iOS simulator in particular is really small, but there actually is a very subtle difference between both these devices. You might notice that on iOS over here, the text that I just entered into that input got capitalized automatically. In other words, that leading A in ASDF was automatically capitalized. That occurs by default on iOS. Depending upon your version of Android that you are running, you will either see the same behavior on Android as well, or it might not be capitalized at all automatically. In addition, on iOS over here, if I type in a word and accidentally make a little small misspelling inside of it, I'm going to try to write out keyboard, but I'm going to make a typo. So I'll write out keyboard, but I'm going to flip the O and the A, like so. Oh, didn't quite take that one. Let's try that again. There we go. So I just left off the O, and so I can see this autocorrect appear right here. If I then hit spacebar, it's going to automatically change that word for me. Now, sometimes we definitely want that autocorrect functionality, but very frequently, if we are entering some text into, say, an email input, or a username input, or a password input, we really don't want iOS to mess around with the text that we are entering at all. So very frequently, when we add in a text input right here, there are two different props that we're going to add in to keep iOS from capitalizing that string and trying to change any of the words that we enter in there. So let's figure out what those two different properties are. So on my text input, I'm going to first give myself a little bit of space here. So the first prop that we're going to add in to the vast majority of text inputs that you and I put together is auto capitalize equals none, like so. Now you might think that this option would be or receive a value of a Boolean value, so like something like false, but that's not the case. Instead, when we select auto capitalize right here, there are actually a couple of different options that we can select. We can either say auto capitalize all characters, auto capitalize the start of every sentence, or auto capitalize every word that we enter, or alternatively, just none. So rather than putting in auto capitalize of false, we generally are going to say none like so, to say, please don't mess around with my text input. The other text or the other prop we're going to add in very frequently is autocorrect. And this one does in fact take a Boolean value. We're going to usually be setting it to false like so. As you might guess, by default, autocorrect has a default value of true. Whenever we're putting together text input, like I said, if we're handling emails, passwords, usernames, we really don't want iOS to jump in and start changing words on our users because that's extremely annoying for them. Okay, so now we've got these two props inside of here. Let's save and test out again. So now on Android, I can put in a misspelt word like keyboard without an A and no issue whatsoever. And then on iOS, I can put in keyboard. That leading character does not get changed. And if I make a typo in there, that's totally fine as well. It doesn't get changed. As you might imagine, there will be scenarios where you might not want to use these two props right here. So for example, if you're prompting a user to enter in like a blog post or a blog title, well, chances are you want that to be auto-capitalized and you want spell check on. But in this course, you and I, for the most part, are going to be dealing with text that we don't want to be changed, like emails and passwords, usernames, and so on. And in those cases, once again, probably want those two props. Okay, so now we've seen those two. Let's take another quick pause. When we come back to the next video, we're going to start to focus once again on the real goal of this application, that right there. So I'll see you in just a minute.